Do you feel like the adults in your life, maybe even your parents or caregivers, are emotionally immature? And as you've grown into adulthood, you can see this in larger and stronger contrast than ever before. This sometimes feels like when you're in an engagement with someone or a conversation or a conflict, like you're talking to a child, even though they may be in the later years of their life or deep into adulthood. There are a lot of different reasons why people become emotionally immature, and today I am going to talk about all of them. I'd like to use the book Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents as an example and kind of a premise for exploring this work. It was written by Lindsay Gibson, who is a PhD and a specialist in helping people heal and work through the relationship dynamics that develop when someone is emotionally immature and how that impacts our children and the relationships of the people around us. Dr. Gibson identifies 5 core qualities or elements in emotionally immature people. The first is egocentrism. This is sort of like the perspective of a 3-year-old, where you feel like the whole world surrounds you and you are center stage. So, egocentrism is when someone cannot see another person's perspective and they think that everything is in direct reaction and response to themselves. The second indicating factor of an emotionally immature person is a lack of empathy. When someone cannot feel softness or warmth toward other people because they're so stuck in their own perspective and they have a sense of distance that keeps them protected and safe from other people, it can sometimes result in a low empathic attunement. So that's another quality. Now, a third quality that's really important is the lack of self-reflection. These people who have emotional immaturity, they don't ask, how did I contribute to this? I wonder what I did that made this situation happen, or the part that I played. The ability to self-reflect is a really mature skill. And we don't have this as children. It's something we develop. And so an emotionally immature adult never got to that milestone where they developed the ability to stop and reflect and ask themselves inquisitive questions that help provide clarity about the part they play in a situation. The fourth quality in emotionally immature adults is a fear of emotional intimacy. They keep people at arm's length and they avoid at all cost the discomfort of other people's feelings and of their own feelings when they're in dynamic with other people. A fear of emotional intimacy is actually a really adaptive protection mechanism for people who have learned that emotional intimacy is not safe, it's threatening in some way, and potentially in their past it created a lot of damage. So they act this out in their relationships with others. And the fifth quality, this is a little bit less important or prominent than the other 4. It's called affective realism. And essentially, affective realism is the perspective that if I feel it, it must be true. So this perspective lacks the ability to have objectivity when it comes to emotions and experiences, and everything feels like it's through the lens of my own eyes and my own perception. So if I feel like a failure, I must be a failure. If you seem like a bad person, you must be a bad person. If I feel it, it must be true. Now, with the combination of these 5 qualities, sometimes emotionally immature people have all 5 of them. Sometimes they have 1, 2, or maybe 3, and you may discover that you have some of these qualities within yourself. So the next piece I want to ask of you is please don't judge yourself or others if you notice this emotional immaturity. This is something that can be healed and it can be grown from. And if you feel like you have been in direct relationship with someone who is emotionally immature, Many of us grew up with emotionally immature parents, and as children, we took that as a sign that we were somehow at fault or that we were somehow bad. And so a lot of the healing work now as an adult, when you realize the dynamics that developed were not in reflection of you being bad or wrong, they were a trauma response and an emotional burden that the adult in your life was carrying within themselves. So a lot of the healing that comes from really understanding the emotionally immature relationships that have affected and influenced your life indicates that you get to do the healing work of not owning those perceptions anymore. A lot of this can look like boundary work with the people in your life who may still be very emotionally immature. A lot of this can also look like saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, not getting hooked into an emotionally immature person's opinion of who you should be or how you should behave in order to please them or make them happy. And another really important factor of healing from emotionally immature relationships is to not own anything that is not yours to own. So this means that if someone is projecting something onto you that is coming from that emotionally insecure or unhealed place, understanding that that is their work to do and that you do not need to rescue them. You don't need to jump in and be the hero that alleviates their pain. In fact, that enables them to continue with their maladaptive behaviors because it never asks them to do their own healing work. So creating a separation between what is yours and what is not yours to carry is really important. The other piece here is it's important for us to allow the emotionally immature people in our lives to walk their own journey. This may not be something that they are ready or capable of healing now or maybe ever. So it's okay for people to be at their own pace in their healing journey, and it's okay for you to recognize and realize that that is okay for them, and you do not have to take responsibility for a relationship and the dynamics with people that don't feel healthy for you. Emotionally immature adults are out there in large quantities these days, as you can see in the news and in the media. So do your work. If you feel that you have emotional immaturity of your own, take this as an opportunity to work on it and heal it. Even if you ask yourself, is this something that is mine to heal? And the other people who have emotional immaturity, if they choose to heal it, then they will walk the path beside you. And if not, then that is not your responsibility. I really recommend this book. It's full of deep and profound knowledge that helps you navigate these difficult relationships, and Dr. Gibson is really skillful. I also listened to a great podcast interview with Dr. Gibson on the 10% Happier podcast. So if you're looking for just an introduction into her work, that would be a great way to sort of dip your toe in and see if it aligns for you. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks for being here.